Hey, happy Monday, everyone. It's April 6th, 2026. I'm Rich Tola, and here's what's cooking for today. Number one, the easy A. It ain't so easy anymore. We're going to be talking about grade deflation and who bears the cost. I'll give you a hint. It's not the teachers. And number two, say A ain't so. Harvard University is going to be reducing the number of A grades that they give out. The students are up in arms. And then finally, I'm going to give you a quote of the day from, you might know this gentleman, William Shakespeare. He died in 1616. So that's 410 years ago today, but his words still ring true. But first, the ABCs, guys, all body workout, blissful sleep, colorful diet. How'd you do today? Well, check for me. I got 3 checks, got on the scale today, feeling good. Monday morning, got to jump right into it, guys. Even if you can't find the time to get to the gym, do it in your house. You could do it on the floor. Always got to stretch. Do something, all right? Get something in there. And hey, here's a congrats shout out to UCLA women's basketball. I saw that game yesterday. 2 words for you: defense rules. Hey, they were awesome. I mean, way to go, UCLA. Beautiful campus. I used to go and love running the stairs at the stadium there when I lived in LA. So congrats to UCLA. And hey, for the guys tonight, the men's NCAA basketball tonight, Indianapolis. That was an awesome time yesterday. You might have saw on Instagram, I posted a video, Megan Mulrooney. She was great. So I was out in the festival celebrating there. But the guys tonight, UConn, Michigan, good luck. No idea, no clue what's going on there. But have fun. All right, let's jump into this because I've been reading about grade deflation. And I'm going to say, as a teacher, as a substitute, I did it myself. We'll talk about that in a second. But what is grade deflation? Basically, when you inflate grades. It's like inflating grades. It deflates future earnings. Now, this came out with a report. I read this, the American Institute for Economic Research. Yeah, they did this report. They said, just like inflated currency loses its value, so do inflated grades. Hey, the real cost of an easy A says it's $10,000 per student of future earnings. That's right. Grade inflation, the practice of awarding grades systematically higher than student performance warrants. Well, let me tell you, that happens a lot. All right. It says research shows that teachers who bump up students' grades by a quarter of a grade, I mean, I was doing it a full grade, cost the average classroom of students $213,872 in future earnings. I don't know where they come up with that number, but hey, again, students taught by grade inflating teachers, this is what the research says, they're less likely to graduate high school within 5 years and less likely to go on to get a bachelor's or an associate's degree. So is it worth it? All right. Is it worth it? All right. What happens? It says when grades stop meaning anything, the incentive to earn them disappears. Well, let me tell you, why does this happen? Okay, what I've seen it happen, witnessed it, done it myself. I'll read you something in a second. It says fewer complaints by students, for sure. Number 2, less pushback from parents. Of course, parents want the students to do well. Number 3, reduces from pressure. You got pressure from the administration that want to boost their school's rankings. I witnessed that. And number 4, they said students prefer it. Of course they prefer it, even if it harms them. And finally, this is what I think, my experience with inner city students, doesn't matter. They don't care about grades. They're not incentivized to do better. They don't care. They don't want to compete. The GPAs don't mean anything. Most of these kids aren't going on to school. So, hey, to get higher grades, they love it, but do they deserve it? Because it's a trickle-down theory. So what happens now when you're giving artificial A's to students in high school? Their GPAs are raised. Then they go on to be evaluated by colleges, the kids that do go to college, and the colleges are in trouble. Because how do they evaluate whether this kid is a real A student or not? No, I mean, hey, what about going old school? Hey, back in my day, it was 90 to 100 was an A, 80 to 90 was a B, or, this simple, straight grading program, but we don't have those now. Okay. They said Now, you can increase the emphasis on the SATs, but that's a challenge too, because they're going to argue that the SATs, that's not fair. It's not fair to the students from the lower income neighborhoods. But, what do you think about this? I mean, if you have a student, you're a parent, do you want to see the A's and the B's, even though the kid doesn't earn the A's and the B's? Or do you want to give them the straight scoop, the straight dope, as we say? I mean, hey, I think the kids got to be graded fairly, but let me read you this because this is something that happened to me, and this is from my book, The Sub Tales of an Inner City Teacher. This is chapter 9, high school. Let me read you. It says, from heated classrooms to hot under the collar, there were many occasions whereby a student had become angry with me for just about any ridiculous reason, like not letting two bad apples go to the bathroom together, or not letting students switch seats so they could socialize with their friends. Most of them have assigned seats for a reason. Or not letting their class-cutting friends hide out in my class. And sometimes it's something as trivial as competing with your classmates for grades. At least that's what happened when I told my students about my perfect bell curve. I had gotten lucky again with a 30-day assignment to teach biology at this magnet school in LA. And since I was responsible for grading my students, I told everyone the only way to get below a C in my class was to not show up. Otherwise, I would use a perfectly convex bell curve and grade the class as follows: 1/3 A's, 1/3 B's, and 1/3 C's. Basically, you couldn't get below a C if you tried. Out of nowhere, this boy sitting in the front row next to the windows raised his hand to get some clarity on my bell curve. Hey, mister, are you saying we have to compete with each other, for grades? Guess he never got the memo. This isn't kindergarten, I joked. No, seriously. What do you think happens when you and all the other high school graduates looking for a job apply for work at the same Burger King down the street? Life is a competition, son, whether you like it or not. See, it was more than that, though. I remember I subbed this class a few times before. It's a magnet school. They're considered the best in LA. And these kids' grades. So here's my style. When I taught I taught that class for 40 days straight. Every day I would give them a quiz. At the end, I would teach them something and then quiz them. And then those kids that participated took the quiz. Half the kids didn't take the quiz. This is true. They didn't even take it. So in my experience, most of the kids I taught, they weren't even C students because they didn't apply themselves. They didn't try. And they didn't try because they didn't feel the need to try. So what happens is you're penalizing the kids that are the better students because now everybody's getting A's at the school, A's and B's. So how does the kid who's doing the work get differentiated from everybody else? And here's another thing you'll read in this book. I got contact at that same school because that was a good school. I had, it was USC. There was a representative from USC. The principal calls me down and then he says, hey, Mr. T, this is a guy from USC. And he said, is there anyone in your class? He said, I know you have a master's degree. You value education. Is there anyone in your class that you think could do the work at USC? I said, well, there was like 2 or 3 students. And I told them one girl actually went to USC, but it's very challenging for these colleges now, even the kids from these inner city markets, to evaluate them, and especially if they're not doing well on standardized tests. So what do we do? What's the solution? I mean, you tell me. I don't know. Again, I was guilty of it because, in a way, you're trying to help them out. You're saying, all right, I want to help you out. I want to help you do well, even though you're not doing so well. All right, let's jump to this next one. Everybody knows Harvard University. Hey, in this 2026 U.S. News and World Report ranked them number 3 in the U.S., Princeton, MIT, Harvard. Globally, they're number 1. Everybody knows Harvard. Beautiful campus there in Boston, downtown Boston. But next week, the faculty votes on whether to limit A's. That's right. Undergrads they're going crazy. They're saying it's crude, it's absurd. All right. They're also considering getting rid of the GPA, grade point average, on an internal metric. They say 94% of the students oppose capping the number of A's. All right. Look at this statistic. 20 years ago, 2006, Harvard gave out 25% A grades. This year, 2026, 55% of the grades are A grades. Hey, it peaked in 2020, 65%. Two-thirds of the grades were A's. I mean, that's like insane. When I went to the University of Pennsylvania, another Ivy League school, back in the 80s, it was tough to get A's. It was brutal. Really, really tough to get A's. I think they gave out like 10 or 20% A's. So I don't know. Students don't want B's. Of course, everybody wants to get A's. And they say that by making it more difficult to get A's, they say the competitive environment is going to become even more toxic. Hey, what does that mean? Grade inflation is what we're talking about. So I don't know. This is a tricky one. It's like you become accustomed to getting these easy grades. So all of a sudden you take the grades away, and what's going to happen? Maybe you'll get tuition will go down. I mean, not tuition, the number of students that go to this school might go down. So, it's a risky move, right? We've created this standard. It's a risky move. So, yeah, I'm not really sure. Again, I don't know. There's a trickle down theory, but hey, again, what are your thoughts? All right, guys, I read this quote because this is something that kind of hit home with me now that I'm posting more on all these social media sites. A couple of people getting nasty with their comments. You talk about war, anything you talk about that's controversial. Hey, guys, we talked about this so many times. Of course, wars are not good. People come home from wars, and every war that I've ever seen in my lifetime, the aftermath is not good. So don't want to see more Americans getting killed if we don't have to. Hopefully we can achieve the objective. Nobody wants to see Iran with a nuclear bomb. Of course not. But at the same point, again, my theory is you got to become partners with these people. All right. You have an adversary that's, well, let me tell you, Iran is a very, very difficult adversary. Why do we have to be all or none? Anyway, guys, this quote from William Shakespeare, he said, "There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so." Again, what's your opinion? Is it good? Is it bad? I mean, it's your thoughts that make it, but everybody's got a different opinion. So let's end with the 3 Tola takeaways. Number 1, you got to respect the ABCs. To me, that's the foundation of your life. The foundation is, again, working out, eating right, sleeping. These 3 things are about the physical, right? Internal and external. But to me, they're basically the foundation. Number 2, pick up the phone, go visit somebody, shed your light, share some goodwill, share some love with another person who could use it today. And finally, always be willing to accept another person's opinion. That's how they think. That's in their mind. Good, bad. It's what they're basing. I guess it's everything they've experienced in life is getting them to this thought, but it's not like it can't be changed. One woman, I think, responded about NASA, all the good things that space has done. Needless to say, she didn't write anything about what was good about it because, I'm still trying to figure that out. A buddy called me last night who wished me happy Easter, a very Catholic man. And I said, let me ask you a question. If God intended people, human beings, to live on the moon or to live on Mars, wouldn't they be there already? I don't know. I asked that question. So if you believe in God, I mean, ask yourself that question. Are we really supposed to be there? I get it. It's, we're expanding the horizons of the world, but why don't we make the world better? Hey, that's the way I think. But anyway, guys, have an awesome day. As always, get your workout in. Peace.